was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And as I was growing up, I had a series of family tragedies that really helped kind of shape my life. My father unfortunately shot and killed my grandmother and shot my grandfather. My grandmother died. My grandfather lived, but his arm had to be amputated. And my aunt, she was shot in the face and in her shoulder. Fast forward several years, my father spent several years in prison. He came out a very reformed man. Then my brothers and I were in junior high school, and they came to get us out of high school, and they sent us to the principal's office. And a gentleman came to the house. He pretended like he was selling school-age books. And as my mother opened the door, he proceeded to fire 6 shots into her, but as a result of her fighting with him, he didn't get off very many clean shots. For me and my brothers, it was a very dark period for us, and I often refer to those as my dark ages. We didn't have very much food. My mother was struggling with alcohol at the time. Our electricity got turned off. We didn't have any heat in the house. And then my brothers and I, we all had to split up and go live with different aunts and uncles. And I happened to go live with my aunt and uncle in Staten Island, New York. I figured the best way I could honor their sacrifice was to do well in school. And when I got to my high school, I didn't know anyone there, not one soul. By the time I left my high school, I was class president 3 years. I was voted most popular, also the president of the Honor Society, ran track, played basketball, and just had a very, very successful high school career. And that's when the Air Force Academy came knocking. I applied to the Naval Academy, and I applied to the Air Force Academy, and I applied to a few other schools. But the one that really struck a chord with me was the Air Force Academy, because that's really where I wanted to be. And I knew that if I could graduate from the Air Force Academy, given all the background that I had, I knew my life would change forever. And I could never have been more right. And so this idea of me giving back is not foreign to me at all, because that's what the Academy is instilling in you. Believing in something bigger than yourself. And it's not about you. And that's really why I pour so much of myself into the charity work that I do. I was involved in a program called the Fishing School in Washington, D.C. It started back in 1990. It was started by a retired Washington, D.C. police officer named Tom Lewis. He had a vision to try to help these kids with an after-school program. And the program is really designed to help them not only with math skills and reading skills, but also with social skills. Some of the kids have become policemen, just like Mr. Tom Lewis. Another lady, young lady actually gets her master's degree, goes off to Cornell University. And there's many stories like that where as a result of the fishing school, these kids were able to succeed. And the fishing school really is about one adage, and that is, hey, if you feed a man a fish for a day, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he feeds himself for a lifetime. It's not a handout. It's really trying to make them self-sustaining and productive citizens of society. Let's get to the charity that I'm working on right now. It is near and dear to me. It's called Cross World Africa. And most of our work is done in Kenya. My classmate, Curtis High School, Kevin Thompson, he was the founder and visionary of this. He asked me if I would serve as the president and board chair of Cross World Africa, and I said I would absolutely love to do that. Cow Project is really a big game changer. We try to give cows to these very poor, needy Kenyan women. And they treat this cow as a sacred blessing. The cow produces milk, and then they can produce other dairy products from that. And as a result of that, they can not only help feed themselves, but they can then around turn, sell some of those products, and then also help to send their kids to school. It is revered and respected. It's sort of like a big status symbol for you to have a Cal, the elite college program. And we do this in partnership with 2 other charities. We help these young, very needy Kenyan scholar students get into some of the best schools in the United States. What we do is we pay for the SAT application fee, which is a critical factor in them getting into these schools. In addition, we provide them with Let's Get Ready, which is a standardized SAT preparation, and we sponsor a roundtable luncheon. We give the kids a glimpse of what they're getting ready to head into as they, shall I say, they come to America. Here's what you should be looking out for. Here are some of the pitfalls that you may run into with drugs and alcohol and the cultural differences. And it gives them an opportunity to really come back and help their countries. So we're very, very proud of that program. The Menstrual Health Project is called Ruby in the Rift because it's being done in the Rift Valley. UNESCO, Bill and Melinda Gates, and the World Bank has identified menstrual health as a gender equity issue. And they recognize that in some of these rural areas in Kenya, as many as 2 out of 3 young adolescent girls will engage in transactional sex in order to get the sanitary products that they need to address their menstrual issue. And many of these young girls, because they go to school and they may get embarrassed, they will decide to just drop out of school altogether. So it's a big issue in terms of creating an environment for gender equity. I often look back at my life and I pinch myself because when I think about what has happened to my brothers in terms of them losing their lives to growing up in the street and having limited opportunities. And really the big difference between my brothers and I is I had people pouring into me and telling me that I could be somebody, right? And I was foolish enough to believe it. And the Academy helped build up that belief. One of the greatest lessons they teach you is service before self. And they drill that into us big time at the Air Force Academy. I have one quote that I try to live my life by. And the quote says, "You make a living by what you get. You make a life by what you give." And I'm in the business of giving as much as I can so I can create this life. I've been so blessed, I have to give back. So, and I must say, I think it's just part of my DNA. That's just how I'm wired. And again, my friends at the Air Force Academy, I would have never made it through the Air Force Academy without their friendship, without their help, without their confidence in me. And I just want to just repay in some other form or fashion. They're not getting the specific rewards from it, but I'm giving back just like they gave to me. I want to make a life by helping other people.